Hey, good to have you back. Today, what we're going to take a look at is an introduction to chord melody. I know that many of you have heard that term, and normally it's associated with tunes that are in the jazz style, I would say, right? Where you go, where you've got the chords and the melody happening at the same time. You know, a lot of players even can get a bass line going, but you have to start somewhere. And sometimes to start with altered chords and difficult chord voicings and so on is a little too much to start with. So I want to do that, and what I would like to do is take a brief look at reading a simple notation chart. This one I don't think should scare you away. I get it with guitar players and notation reading, but being able to read notation to a degree is really important. Okay, so we're going to take a look at a little bit of notation reading and this tune, and how to put the notation, the melody together with really simple chords. Most of this is going to be in first position, and then we are going to translate that to fifth position in pentatonic scale. This I look at this as well as being a study in ear training, because once you have to transpose a tune into another position, you're not actually transposing an octave, but just another position, same octave. The ear has a very important role in being able to do that. So this has got to do with a whole bunch of stuff. It's a simple tune, but to take all of those concepts together is great for your practice and for your development. If you're not, if you're way beyond this already, try some of our other videos. Okay, so Wayfarin Stranger. What I'm going to do is just start with the melody, right? And we're obviously in the key of A minor. Really simple. Great tune, actually. Let's just take that much of it for now. Okay, so what we want to do is be able to play that melody in first position. Now, it's so in open position, and it so happens that it's a pentatonic melody. I can immediately tell that there are no semitones here anywhere, right? The opening is just an open fifth. All right. Right? Pentatonic. You get the idea, okay? And so pentatonic down in open position. Challenge yourself. That pentatonic underneath, as a melodic template underneath what you're playing and what you're thinking when you're playing this melody. Okay. Now, chord melody means, simply put, chord melody means the chord is below the melody. You've got a chord that's below the melody. And that chord normally happens on the first beat of each measure, right? Where it'll be, where it will most clearly define the harmony. There we go, right? I already had the chord down when I started because I can see that those notes are in the chord. So I can do that whole thing with the A minor chord down in position, and then to the D minor chord. And this is a first inversion of a D minor chord. Back to the A minor chord, right? most of it's underneath my fingers in that chord shape. And so here it's just a G chord, and I'm just playing it with a 2-finger G chord with a mute here. You could go to the F. Okay, right. I think that's pretty clear. Let's take the next section. So the next section goes up to the 5th position. So we need a chord up there, the A minor chord up there, in order to get the chord underneath the melody. C. Back to that G. Okay. Now, another cool technique, if you want to step ahead one step further, is try to add some rhythm. And just sort of giving the impression that there's more than one thing going on, right? So what we're doing, well, all music is basically, I'm going to oversimplify this. Music is basically rhythm, melody, harmony, and form. I like to add form because if there's no form, it doesn't make sense. So rhythm, melody, harmony, and form. So we started with the melody, and in order to complete that melody, we need something supporting that melody in terms of harmony, right? Now you can play that with another guitar player, and then you don't need to do a chord melody. But if you're hanging about and you want to sound like you're playing a solo, then this is a great place to start. So then, when you add those chords and and put them together with the melody, you have two of the elements of music, right? Two of the essential elements of music. And now, if we want to take that one step further, as I said, we can do that by adding a rhythm as well. And it doesn't need to be complex or difficult. The idea is to put together the elements that are required to play a whole tune, and I invite you to read it. Right. Once you sort of have an idea, read the notation. Once you have an idea of how, especially when you have an idea of how the melody goes, then it's pretty easy to find it. Because in this case it's only on 3 strings, so being really easy on you. And I like, I'm in a sense, I feel like I'm always selling the idea of notation. At reading music notation. Tablature is not music notation. Tablature has a number of shortcomings, which are crucial shortcomings. A tablature will show you where to put your fingers, right? Yeah, but it doesn't tell you anything else. On the other hand, notation, this tells me a whole bunch. This tells me that the melody is in a certain key. It gives me the chords. It gives me the chord names. If I can see the chord names, I should know the notes in the chords: A minor, A, C, E, and the D minor, D, F, A, and so on. And that all of that informs me in terms of my ability to come up with an arrangement, right? Excuse me. So yeah. So what I'm wanting you to dig into here is be able to play a simple chord melody, not one that's going to take you a month to arrange, right? Learning it in tablature, learning someone else's chord forms and all that, that has its place. But something where you can just pick up the tune and you can play it in, maybe an hour, right? Whatever, and it'll get to the point when you can do that in those time frames will become much shorter because you'll get better and better at reading notation, and there are a lot of lovely melodies with really really simple notation. So that's a bunch of stuff that I'd like you to do here in the learning to play chord melodies area of things. All right. So as I said at the top, the melody here is in the pentatonic scale, A minor pentatonic scale. So what I'd like you to do is take the same melody and put it down on the fretboard. Right, with your ear, right, and you can use that template of this most common of all scale forms, right? Pentatonic scales, minor, A minor pentatonic is even more common than just about everything. Everybody seems to learn that scale at the very beginning, but that's not what we're getting at. Learning that scale is not what we're getting at. Learning to hear what you're going to play before you play it is what we're getting at, right? Learn the melody, then take that melody and put it down on the fretboard, right? That's not an easy task, and the more you develop it, the better. You should be able to hear something in your head and play it. On the topic of improvisation, if you're not hearing what you're putting down on the fretboard, then I question if that's improvisation at all in the truest sense of the word. Maybe it's just your fingers moving around really fast. I've seen this happen a lot before with players whose fingers are students whose fingers are moving 100 miles an hour. But I ask them to play a simple melody like this or like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and everything comes to a complete halt. So if you really want to dig in and learn how to play the instrument, you have to put all of these components together: rhythm, melody, harmony, form, and your ear, right? And then you have to put that together with understanding the fretboard, right? So there's a bit of a pitch. If you want to learn how to read and you want to do it gently without going crazy, you can check this book out. I've got this on Amazon. I wrote this one with a dear friend of mine, and both of us, between us, I think we have 80 years of teaching experience, or something ridiculous like that. But anyway, that aside, great little book, a progressive and thorough approach for the evolving beginner. But there's some nice tunes in there. If you want, if you want to teach a friend how to play guitar, and you feel that you're already further along, use that book as a template for your lessons, right, and your lesson structure. Okay, so that was Wayfarin Stranger beginning a chord melody, right? The very beginning of chord melody. Remember those four elements of music, and that and try to think of those elements all the time, right? I mean, in this in a band situation, when you're playing, crazy single note lines, that's really fun stuff, when you can, wail away on a pentatonic scale, and you've got a bass player, to your right, and you've got a drummer to your left, and you've got a rhythm guitar player over further on in the stage, right? And you can just wail away on those notes. But man, when you're sort of alone by yourself, wailing away on those notes, there's something very empty about that, isn't there? Because you don't have everybody, a whole band filling in for you. And this idea of punching up, tracks and backing tracks and all that stuff. I mean, really? Yeah, golly, man, it's sort of like at the end of an era, if that's what you have to do. So rather than do that, dig into the guitar a little bit deeper, make it speak out more, make it say more, work on some bass lines, work on some connections to basic simple chords, be able to read a little bit and so on, so you can make music. That's sort of the point. No matter how simple it is, there's two different kinds of music. There's good music, and you know what the other one is. And they have very little to do with those two different kinds of music have very little to do with difficulty. Something played perfectly that's very simple can be very beautiful and compelling. It doesn't, you don't have to wag your fingers until there's, things are blowing around you, that are close to you. I mean, just play the music that's there. Okay, that's my pitch for today. And yeah, Wayfarin Stranger, make sure Chord Melody, subscribe if this is of any value to you whatsoever. Comment as long as you say something nice. If you can't say anything nice, then don't comment and maybe find a cause. And as far as liking this, that would be really nice. And I really value your comments. I do, I do, I do, I do. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me where you want to go. I can't know where you're at. As I mentioned earlier on here, I've done a ton of teaching, and I've had students at every conceivable level. I mean, I'm serious. I don't think there are many guys on YouTube that have done as much teaching as I have. But the difference between what I'm doing here and teaching on YouTube is that I can meet the person. I know where that person is at. I know I can sort of fit a program and put a program together for them. But here I don't have that luxury. I don't know where you're at. I don't know how long you've been playing. I don't know, all of that stuff. So I rely on you to comment like, well, this is like below me. I know all this stuff already. Many years ago, I was at a series of workshops with the great Howard Roberts, and the room was full of about 15 guys, I guess, right? And they were 8-hour long day workshops for a week, and did the same thing happened with Howard, right? There were some people, oh man, I already know all this stuff. And I'm thinking, holy smokes, man, if you know all this stuff, why aren't you famous? There's a good question. But Howard seems to know the stuff really well. Like, I mean, he could play all of these like easy concepts and ultra complicated concepts up upside down and backwards and make music immediately. Like he was a great musician. So, ask yourself, do you know this? Can you play simple tunes in all keys everywhere on the fretboard? So I'll leave that with you. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you again soon. Please leave your comments as I asked for, and yeah. Thanks for stopping by again, and see you soon. Bye.